Go Ford for your next truck or SUV and find an easier way to buy with Woodhouse Ford today and experience the convenience of buying with Woodhouse Ford. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on a 2023 Ford F-150 XLT plus 3.9% APR for 60 months with approved credit. $299 doc fee due at signing. Security deposit waived. Expires 1/02/2024.
Are you struggling to lose weight and keep it off? Tired of wasting time and money on starvation diets that lead to more frustration and stress? If there was a weight loss solution that could actually work for you, would you try it? Then head to Golo.com.
I'm Steve. I lost 138 pounds in 9 months on Golo.
I'm Amber. I've lost 128 pounds with Golo.
If you're ready to take back control of your life, head to Golo.com now and see how Golo can work for you. That's Golo.com.
My sleep is way better. My inflammation has gone way down. Golo saved my life. I was way overweight. That's what sent me down the path. I wanted to make sure and live for my kid.
I have literally tried everything. I was on the verge of getting gastric bypass surgery, and I saw the Golo commercial, and it was the last thing I tried because it worked.
Join over 2 million people who found a better way to lose weight with Golo. Your healthier and happier life begins at Golo.com. That's Golo.com. Again, Golo.com.
Hi, this is Crystal Hardison from Southeastern Livingston Center. I'm the director, and you are listening to Local Leaders, the podcast.
Hey everyone, it's Jim Chapman with Local Leaders, the podcast, and I want to make you aware of a fantastic deal they have going on right now at Fit Body Boot Camp in Denham Springs, Louisiana. If you go to the link getfitdenhamsprings.com/local leaders, you can get $30 off of the regular price of $129 for 30 days of classes. Go to the link, click it, sign up. 30-day classes for only $99 through that link. It's a special deal offered to all of our listeners at Local Leaders, the podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Local Leaders, the podcast. And today is an honor for me on many fronts. I'm sitting down with an absolute leader, and we share common ground in a lot of areas. First, we share a love for media of many types, and both are podcasters. Lori with the popular The Gifted Life podcast, which is centered around hero stories and her work with LOPA. Second, we share a love for community and are both very active in it. And third, we share a love and respect for our law enforcement professionals. Now, most of you are going to notice one distinct thing throughout this podcast. I am nowhere near as polished as the leader sitting across from me. Lori Steele would be the last one to focus on those accolades herself. In fact, Miss Steele spent the majority of her life doing just the opposite and providing a focus on others. It is, in my opinion, the purest form of leadership, and that is servant leadership. So with that, welcome, Miss Lori Steele.
Oh, thank you. That was so nice. Thank you very much. It's an honor.
Every word of it.
And just what a great concept that you have come up with to highlight women in the community. So kudos to you.
Thank you very much. There's no one more deserving than women, and we as men know that.
Well, good. Taking notes.
Y'all do all the hard work. So, yes, indeed. I want to jump kind of right in and get into your professional career. You're a former news reporter. You reported the news for a long time, and that eventually led you to LOPA. Mm-hmm. And you have an interesting story on how that happened. So share that with us first.
Yes. Well, I grew up and I was painfully shy. Painfully shy. I couldn't breathe, hives. I would turn red. I couldn't do a presentation in college. Like, it was just bad. But my mom was sick. We had talked about the future. She wanted me to go to college. I had TOPS when it was new starting. And I said, I think I want to be on TV. And so being the kind mother, I think you can do it. If you work hard enough, I think you can do it. Everybody else, my brothers and sisters, you can't even talk to anybody. You can't stand up and do a present. You can't do that. No, whatever. And but I told her, that I would. So after high school graduation, she passed away, and but I remember I told her that's what I wanted to do, and in my heart and my brain, like I had to make that happen, right? So I just kind of worked towards that and worked towards being on TV, as painful as that is. I have a whole blooper reel. I have multiple of them somewhere. I'd love to see them and go back, but I remember how painful that was to grow. So I always try to help others because that was a growth process for me. It was hard. Yeah. And, you still work through it. You're learning every day is how it goes. So I made it. I started working on TV. My family was just as surprised as I was that I actually got a paying job in TV. And so you go out and, you're trying to be this reporter. So you're not supposed to be part of the story. You're not supposed to get emotionally involved. You're supposed to deliver the facts, right? And so I get an assignment and it's a celebration of life. And I said, okay, well, let me go out there and figure out what this is. And it was a mom who had just lost her son. They were releasing balloons with little messages in them, and she just wanted people to remember her kid. She said, I just don't want people to forget about him because he died so young. And I just connected with that mom, had just lost my mom, and I was crying. And I said, this is so beautiful. Why wouldn't no one come here to do this? Like, why is it a thing that somebody would say no to? Right. And so she said, are you a registered donor? And I was like, well, I'm not. And she goes, well, why not? And I said, well, I don't know. So we had the paper out. I had a lot of makeup then, mascara running. I signed up to be a donor that day on that page. And I thought, what a great mission. What a great cause. And she would come into the studio. We had a 3-hour morning show, which I loved. I just talked, visited with my friends. And she would come in and she goes, if you have a minute, if you have 30 seconds, I'd like to talk about donation. And so some days we'd fit her in, some days we didn't, but she would always show up. And I was like, man, she just loves her baby. She just wants people to hear the story of her son. And I just thought that was so powerful. And so I just fell in love with LOPA. And I said, if I ever got out of news, which I loved, if I ever transitioned out, like that's someplace where I'd love to land. And the universe heard, and here we are. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how life has, those turns that you never see coming.
Right.
And you did. You eventually moved away from your days as a news reporter and went on to work directly for LOPA. I want to read something, and I sent out a questionnaire to you and asked you about overcoming challenges. I think what you responded with is both important as it directly relates to the struggles that women in particular kind of go through in the working world. And so I'm going to read that verbatim. You said, for me, I struggled in the news world when I became a mother, trying to be the mom I envisioned I'd always be versus what the work world demanded. I remember crying when I had to work on Christmas morning following the birth of my daughter. It just didn't feel right. So I prayed for something that would allow me to be the mom I wanted to be and the working woman I wanted to be. A tough transition for this gal, but one that was necessary. And the key for me, at least, was aligning myself with powerful leaders who were confident enough to provide for my whole self and my whole family, that work with me, that support me, and they root for me. That's huge. And I kind of want to
sharing a piece of my heart there. That's true. That was from the heart.
Reading it, I could tell. And I want to unpack it and just ask you how important you would say surrounding yourself with positive people, leaders, people who pour into you and not drain you, is for not only women, but anyone who wants to climb the ladder of life.
Oh, and then especially in a newsroom, especially I would think these days, but when I was in there, there was so much competition, especially women. It was almost like you were pitted against the other one who would cover your same topics or things of that nature. Yes. And it was just unnatural to me. And then I saw it with my friends who would become enemies just because that's the way the system was set up. That's the way society had set them up. And these popular things on social media these days, who had the most likes or who would watch that story. And it just didn't feel right. And so I said, maybe God was transitioning me, like, that's not where you need to be. It was so uncomfortable for me. And I just wanted to be with my babies, and I just wanted to be at home with them. But but I don't think I was built to be a stay-at-home mom. I think I would go crazy. Bless those who do.
Yes.
I just don't think, like you're built for something, and I just didn't think not working, I needed to find a different way to do that. And so that's where I landed. Yeah.
You did. You know, to me, it sounds like you found a happy medium there where you could do both and feel satisfied in both. And go, that is a struggle that a lot of women go through. It's hard to find that balance.
And then, as you get older, your priorities change.
Sure.
Male, female, doesn't matter. But especially when you have children and you have to start making those decisions, and then they start getting involved in activities, and you just want to be there to do that trifold poster of the science project. Like, you just want to help them and be part of that, because that's what I remember of my mom, having lost my mom so early. Like, those are the things that I want to be a part of. That was important to me. And I just had to find a place that would allow me to do both.
Yes. Yeah. Very good. And so off you go, new adventures in life for Miss Lori Steele. And let's take LOPA first. For those that may not be familiar, kind of give me the 30-second elevator speech on what LOPA does in the world of nonprofits and how you play a role in that.
Yeah. So LOPA is the Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency. So basically, we're the organ and tissue recovery agency for the state. We're the only one of our kind. And we make life happen. So we work with those families who have lost someone very close to them. Sometimes it's traumatic. Sometimes it's a shocking, unexpected death. But through death, they can give life through donation. And so we walk them through that transition. We work with the recipients who are celebrating that they got a second chance at life, that mom gets to see her kids longer, that dad gets to walk his daughter down the aisle, all because a hero, a selfless someone, said yes to donation. So it's very wonderful. LOPA.org for information. I never pressure people into a decision, but learn the facts. That's the most important part.
Right. Yeah. And the information, like you say, it is important. And no, you don't pressure people. I actually became a donor.
Yeah.
And you didn't pressure me at all.
Which was a great day.
It was a great day. You were so enthusiastic about that. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing that feels better than just making an unselfish decision to make life happen for others. And it can be life-changing.
Yeah. And I work with so many families who have lost someone so close to them, even lost their child, but they understood about donation, and they wanted that child to be a hero. And the way to do that was through donation. And it's just amazing. Some of these families go on vacation together. They have Thanksgiving together. They break bread together. It's just an amazing, inspirational journey. Like, if you need to be uplifted in some way, you need to sit down with these families, just have a real conversation. They're so honest and open, but it really just helps you to see the world in a different way.
100%. Hey, y'all. After Hurricane Ida, I called one company to look at my patio cover, and that was Dreamscape Construction. Dreamscape Construction makes home improvements easy so you can spend less time stressing and more time enjoying your outdoor space. Avoid the mistakes of hiring inexperienced and uninsured contractors to work on your home. Dreamscape Construction stands by all products and installation, and upon completion, every job is personally inspected by the owner, and I like that. Dreamscape Construction's cleanup guarantee means no scrap or mess will be left behind. That includes any removal of existing structures to be repaired. All material remnants will be hauled away upon completion at no expense to the homeowner. Gutters on your home help prevent land erosion and foundation issues. Insulated patio covers can even reduce patio heat by more than 20 degrees, and screen enclosures can help keep your unwanted pest out of your relaxation areas. Dreamscape Construction specializes in 6-inch seamless gutters, insulated patio covers, and screen enclosures. They are licensed and insured with 20 years of gutter and patio installation experience. Call 225-445-2744 or visit them on the web at dreamscapebr.com. That's DREAMSCAPEBR.com to schedule a free quote today. Dreamscape Construction, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders. And, we mentioned the Gifted Life podcast earlier. And incidentally, listeners, go check out the most recent episode featuring American Idol Season 8 Scott McIntyre.
Yay! Very good.
Talk about overcoming adversity, huh?
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, you will love that particular episode. But Lori, on that subject, let's discuss the Gifted Life podcast and how this podcast brings even more awareness to the mission of LOPA.
Yeah, so LOPA is really grassroots. So we go into schools like Kelly Jennings and Denham Springs Freshman High. When she was at LPLTC, we went there as well. But it's just getting the word out. We're not looking for money or anything like that. We just want folks to understand, because when you go to get your driver's license, or you go to change your address, or you go to renew your driver's license, they're going to ask you about donation. It's required by law. We just want you to make an educated decision. So we were trying to get the word out. And how do you do that? We wanted some new tools. And so podcasting was a thing. And so we said, maybe we could give it a go. So I had some news background, never podcast. So that's your area. I just come to the mic and have a seat. And then we teamed with our clinical officer, our chief clinical officer. We brought in a mental health professional, and we said, let's just try to connect with these folks across the country who are doing the same thing that we do in Louisiana and talk to them like best practices. What can we learn from each other to help each other? Yes. So the Gifted Life podcast has gone on to be a tool that's used in nursing classes when we have to talk about donation or teach them, or if they're going to be part of a LOPA journey. They use this as a tool, which is really neat to do. And then we get to meet, American Idol folks. We interviewed Robin Roberts, just incredible folks who are doing incredible things.
100%. Yeah. I will link the link to the Gifted Life podcast in the description of this video. So if you're listening, if you're watching, just scroll down to the bottom. You'll see a link. Click on it. Give them a subscribe. Just an awesome podcast. So many stories there with so many people.
Oh, you're good at that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And thank you for that compliment. I appreciate that. So as I discussed, I'm an organ donor, became one right after
so great.
This podcast, your first appearance. And
what also is great is that you got other people talking about it that probably never would have talked about it or thought about it. So
100%.
A sincere thanks.
Look, my pleasure. And it changed me as a person. It made, every day we as humans, I hope that everybody strives to be better and give more of themselves every day. And that for me was something that I really needed to do and always wanted to do, but never quite took that step. And so thank you for just being yourself and boom, off I went. Now I'm an organ donor.
That's so great. Yeah, we told everybody we knew.
yes, 100%. Now, not only was that a big life-changing thing for me, but my familiarity with it came through a podcast called Real Life or a Crime with a guy named Woody Overton.
How crazy is that?
That's nuts. And so that was a big springboard for planting the seed in my mind of what is LOPA? What do they do? All those sorts of things. So let's discuss Woody for a second and the amazing things that he does for LOPA, gives out of his heart through his podcast and raising awareness.
We're going to need more than a second.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Woody Overton, the man, the myth, the legend, right? So he has this podcast, and people across the world are just drawn in by him. Yeah. And we were talking about this. It's, his smooth voice, his storytelling, but just a good human. And him and Cindy make a great team, him and his wife, like so great. And so in addition to putting on this podcast and engaging all of these people, he wanted to do more. Who does that? Like, you're so busy, but let's do more, something good. What good can come out of this? So we had some folks in common, one of them being Kelly Jennings. And then she had a student whose kid went on to be a donor. And so we asked him to join us on The Gifted Life. He heard that story, and he had heard Kelly talking about it when he did one of his first live podcasts at the Livingston Parish Literacy and Technology Center. So we just talked about donation, and he said, that's it. He said, I've been searching for something, but he said, that story and then my own experience with donation, what can we do? So just him talking about it, people who have never heard about donation, never thought about donation, people who aren't even from our state are calling us to find out about donation. They're signing up. It's increasing the donor registry, and we're saving more lives because one person decided, Let me talk about that a little bit more. How cool is that?
That is
And then not
really
only
cool.
just talk about it, when he does his crew bash, he goes a little bit further. He teams with folks like you and Tiffany and others, and then they raise money that goes back to the LOPA Foundation so that we can do more of that across the state. So pretty neat. And it's just one person like you, like, I just want to do something different. I want to do something cool. It's extra work for them. So I don't know how they do it or why they do it. I'm just grateful that they do, right?
Yes.
Like, amazing.
Yes, it speaks to who they are, and so many people out there that are just generous and giving of themselves. I've always believed that giving of your time is your most valuable asset, and so thank you, Woody Overton. Shout out to you, buddy. I know you're listening. Great job. So, lastly, on the subject of LOPA, there are those hero stories, and let's talk about one of those and share the story of the gentleman who was cycling across country to honor his deceased daughter.
Yeah, so that's my friend Bill Connor, who's in Wisconsin. And I got a call out of the blue, and it was a couple of summers back. And he said, I sold everything that I own. And he said, I bought a bike, and I'm going to be bicycle riding to your state. And I said, what? Get out the map. And I said, you're coming from where now? And he says, my daughter's heart recipient is in Louisiana, and I'd like you to help me meet him. That was a heavy burden, right?
Yes.
It's just a dad who sold everything just to do this. And I thought, whoa, how can we help? So I got my husband involved, like our friends involved, and they just thought that was the greatest thing. And how can we help this dad? So he didn't want anything, didn't want any money. He just needed some help to get to his daughter's heart donor. So his daughter was on vacation with her mom. They were in Mexico. There's still an investigation going on, but she became a donor and she became a hero. And so her heart went to a man in Louisiana who's about to get married. And so dad is invited to that, which was pretty neat. So he started his journey, and we started planning in Louisiana, just calling on our friends, people who want to do good things. We found a lady who had a camp on False River who opened the doors, fed us, brought us in, just because she thought it was an incredible story. So he rode his bicycle, and on Father's Day, he got there, and we talked to the heart recipient. Him and his family came, and he said, Happy Father's Day, which was so great. So we had a camera. It was a couple of summers ago. And so it was just like a Facebook Live, because we thought, more people need to see this. And so many people like that, it went viral. And so it tripled the Louisiana Donor Registry. People from different languages were talking to us. We had to use Google Translate. We were doing interviews in North Korea, which you wouldn't think North Korea would be in on something, good, hearing the stories. But it was just a great experience. And all he wanted was for people to know about his daughter. And that's what happened. And so we still talk about her today. And every Father's Day, we check in with him. He checks in with us. But he had just reached out and he said that the recipient was getting married and he plans on being there. And I thought, how cool is that?
That's cool.
Yeah. So that was the summer of donation. And that was just a wild and fun ride.
Wow. And what a great story. And the amazing thing about that is there's a million stories like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Miss Jessica, who was on this show with you last time you came on, shared a hero story. We'll link that episode also to this
sweet.
podcast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's awesome. And has a great story with her brother regarding her brother Alan. Yeah. So
we love her. She came to the crew bash. She was on stage as well, and she just thought how amazing that all these people are hearing about a topic that she was screaming from the rooftops for so long.
Yes.
And how neat that people are listening and people are taking action and saying yes to donations. Beautiful thing.
It really is. It really is. So if you want to hear any more of those hero stories, really get involved with LOPA, check out the podcast, go to the website and all those sorts of things. And there's so much information on there. It's easy to follow and be an organ donor, right?
Yeah. And you can also request a free speaker. So if you have a class or a lunch and learn or a Kiwanis club, you can request a speaker no matter where you are in Louisiana, and then we'll get to you. We just want to spread the word. So we appreciate that plug.
Yes. No problem at all. William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance in Denham Springs can service all of your insurance needs. Offering auto, life, health, and commercial insurance, William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance is a proud supporter of Local Leaders, the podcast. So if your work with LOPA weren't enough, you are also what I would call the media guru for the Livingston Parish Sheriff, Jason Ord.
Yes.
One thing I have always hammered down on this show is that social media specifically can be a powerful tool, not only for the law enforcement world, but even the political world. And Sheriff Ord recognized this early. Upon his election, he implemented changes to how his office communicates, which is where you come in.
Yeah.
Tell us about your role within the LPSO.
Yes. Well, it's kind of funny because when I transitioned out of news and trying to figure out this nonprofit world, we crossed paths in church, and he had just gotten elected, and he says, hey, we need to talk. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the new sheriff. Like, what do we need to talk about? I said, Warren,
Am I under arrest?
What happened? And so he was trying to figure out a way to put his office together, who he was going to put in place. And I said, I do this work with LOPA, and I said, it's, life-changing for me. So, I need to continue to do that. And he says, well, I wouldn't have it any other way. And when I talked to LOPA, they said, we want you involved in your community. You need to do these things. And so I thought,
Go Ford for your next truck or SUV and find an easier way to buy with Woodhouse Ford today and experience the convenience of buying with Woodhouse Ford. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on a 2023 Ford F-150 XLT, plus 3.9% APR for 60 months with approved credit. $299 doc fee due at signing. Security deposit waived. Expires 1/02/2024.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, how perfect is this? I would have never seen it when I was, struggling in the news world of where, I would be. So you go to work for the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office. Is where we live. Is where we work. Is where our kids go to school. And these folks that we work with are just awesome. Like, they're people that we go to church with, people that we shop at the grocery store with. And I thought, oh my gosh, if we could tell their stories of just them, of who they are and why they choose to do this work. Like in this day and age, why would you choose to wear the badge?
Yes.
Right? Because it is tough. Like, I pray for them all the time, but I just thought if we could highlight that a little bit more, that would be something great for our community to see. Not only our community, but other folks across the state. And then social media, is taken off, and you want to be part of that and get on that journey with them. And so the sheriff said, if we can all work together and we can do this safely, especially during natural disasters, especially during hurricanes, we can keep folks off the roadway, we can keep them safe, and then we keep our first responders doing what we need them to be doing, clearing off the roadways, helping the power companies clear those lines. And if we can show that safely during the flood of 2016, a lot of us lost our phones because of the flood waters. And you've been highlighting those AT&T stories, right? Yes. But anyway, we were able to tell a pretty good tale of what goes on during disasters, especially during the flood of 2016, especially during those hurricanes, not only for their own families, but for the families throughout the community, for your family.
Yes.
And that was pretty powerful. And so sometimes you can't say everything you want to say with a case, and in good time, that comes out.
Sure.
But you try to put out what you can and you share. And social media is a good way to do that sometimes and a bad way to do that sometimes. You know how that goes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're popular one day and maybe not the next.
I've deleted more than my share of posts.
First Amendment, baby. It's okay.
So talking about that, and I just want to give the listeners some numbers. 72,312 Facebook followers on the LPSO page and over 25,000 on Sheriff Ord's public page.
Yes.
Pretty good.
And then, he is in the position that he's in for a reason, and he's forward thinking and is a big thinker. So that's where we are now. And there are new things on the horizon that hopefully we can come back and chat with you about, that I think is going to be new ways to communicate with our public that I think everyone will really like and embrace.
Yes.
And that's to come. So watch out.
Ooh,
You never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
I want the main scoop. I like it a lot. Now, and you probably know some of these guys, but I'm going to talk about two particular law enforcement professionals that stand out in my mind
Okay.
is those who use social media specifically or through social media specifically were able to do a lot of good relative to solving crimes. And also they kind of became sensations of sorts using social media. The first is Clay Higgins, right?
Yeah.
Through his work with Crime Stoppers.
I remember that very first, well, not the very first, but the one that got people looking at him was when he says, I'm going to take you down. Like, I remember that like it was yesterday. And I thought, whoo, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Right. I mean, Clay Higgins was, and now he's moved on to politics.
Yeah.
And wow.
Crazy thing, right?
What a ride that's been. But, what he really did with that was he brought a personality to Crime Stoppers where so many people were intrigued and it had so many shares. Almost every Crime Stoppers case that he did got solved.
Yeah. Well, I think he was putting his own little twist to it too, and then using some colorful language that not everybody uses, and then his delivery was so on point. It was hard to miss.
It was hard to miss. And the second there, and I don't know if you're familiar with this gentleman, but he's the sheriff of Polk County.
Oh yes,
Grady Judd. Look, that
a lot of my
guy's-
friends screenshot it and send it like, this is what they're doing today.
Yeah, he is a YouTube phenomenon through that the Fox affiliate there films his press conferences, but he is extremely transparent.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got pictures up and, he's comical with it. And of course it's serious business, but he has figured out a way to just get the information out where it not only appeals to Polk County residents, he's all over the world now.
Louisiana.
Yeah. I'm sitting here talking about it here in Denham Springs. So just something that you've done a great job of is kind of raising that social media awareness. It's important because it highlights the importance not only of what you do, but the importance that social media is continuing to play in getting information out, right?
Yeah. And one of the things that we try to do, and this is from the sheriff on down, protecting the victims.
Yes.
So maybe you want to say something, but what if that was your wife or your daughter that was involved in something? They have a right to privacy
100%.
as well. And so that's his number one main thing. I can take a lick if I have to take one.
Yeah.
But we're protecting them.
That's right.
And we're keeping them. And so with social media, it's hard because a third cousin will say, this is what I know, and it's not fact.
Yeah.
But some will run with it as fact. And so we just ask them to stay off of social media, and we work with them, and then just look at that case from different perspectives, and how do we protect that family and still get justice at the end of the day, because you have to hand over a solid case, right, so that it can go through the process. So those are some of the things that we have to look at, and sometimes at the end of the day, some people may not like the decisions that were made, but we have to sleep at night, and we have to protect those victims. But I always say, like, what if that was my girl, my Abby, that was involved in something, or my husband? Not necessarily everyone needs to know.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
I agree 100%. And where the advantage comes in more than anything else is when you have like a natural disaster, like a Hurricane Ida, where all people are looking for is an update on road closures, or maybe an update on what the sheriff, they did so many things. Look, y'all lit up that Facebook during Hurricane Ida. I mean, there was some activity, and that was a beautiful thing. I mean,
that was around the clock, and that was from those shifts that were out there. So starts with the sheriff, and then he puts out, like, if you see something and it's safe to do so, send it in.
Yes.
And that really works. The other thing that we have to look at, and you saw this, we had a carjacking, stabbing story that was big in the news. And you have somebody who worked at our detention center who stopped on the side of the road to help that person.
Yes.
So I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that.
And so we wanted to highlight them, but then that opens her privacy too.
Yeah.
And then does she want to say her name or not? She wonderful. And then she said, Laura, you wouldn't have done the same thing. And I said, I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would have. We had different training, but she was the perfect person to be there at that time. So Tori, like, shout out to you. Yeah. But then they're so humble and they don't want to always tell those stories. And so for her, it was just the right thing to do.
Yes.
And you ask her, like, why did you do that? Well, wouldn't you have done it? It's the right thing to do. And I just thought, it's so cool, you know, that you had that. And so we were able to use social media to push that out. And that became some of the news coverage. And then her name was finally able to be out there when she gave permission to do that. So
yes,
pretty neat person. Yeah. Good human.
Very much so. Good human.
Yeah.
And when you're on maybe her side of things, you don't realize not everybody's like that. Some people just, it's not that they're not caring people. They're just not very brave or whatever. I mean, they're like, I'll go call somebody that's braver than me.
Well, and then the sheriff said, let us check it out. If you see somebody and you think you may want to stop on the side of the road or something, maybe don't, because don't call me in an emergency. I'm probably not the best person, but I know who to call.
Yes.
And that's our sheriff's office.
Exactly.
Or our local law enforcement partners. All great.
100%. All great. All doing a great job. And you as well with that social media.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all. There is nothing worse than paying more for your mortgage than you have to. When I needed a mortgage loan, I called the local mortgage experts at Home Key Mortgage. Not only did I receive the best interest rate possible, but the service was impeccable, making the entire process quick and easy. Already have a mortgage? No problem. The experts at Home Key Mortgage offer refinance options to fit any budget. Located in both Hammond and Denham Springs, Home Key Mortgage is convenient to my area and local, and I love that. For more information, visit them on the web at homekeymtg.com. That's HOMEKEYMTG.com. One thing I believe is an absolute fact is that leaders never stop learning from other leaders.
Yeah.
You list Sheriff Ard's wife, Erica, as someone you learn from, especially with her work with the Christmas Crusade. Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, she has the more difficult role, if you ask me, because, sometimes people say things and it's okay behind a keyboard, right?
Yes.
But then these are real people who go home. They have a mom and a dad and children. And I know that's a tough role, because if somebody was talking about my hubby, I don't know how calm I'd be, but she handles it, in stride, and she's so wonderful. And then she pours her whole heart. I'll get it out.
Yeah.
Her whole heart into the Christmas Crusade. And she starts in October. They have to rearrange their holidays so that she can do this. She goes shopping. She has to raise money. She has to fundraise. She has to speak in public, which she'd prefer not to do, but she does it for this to happen. And I don't know if you've compared the numbers from different areas, but she takes care of some kids and some families more than anyone that I've seen. And she does it again and again and again. And so I don't know how she does it. Grateful that she does. But she gets up every day. It's a well-run machine. She has folks who go shopping, and it's like a North Pole. I don't know if you ever saw the pictures that we would post on there, but it has a baby section, and then the next to the toddlers and all that. And it's just amazing that it happens, and it always gets done. And then behind the scenes, people don't see, but if they're making deliveries and they don't have like a meal, they don't have like a tree, then they go out and bring a tree or a meal with all the fixins out of their pocket, like the sheriff and his wife, and some of the deputies. And I just thought, so great, right? Like really so great to be in this community where people look out for one another. And a lot of the deputies, if they make calls, when we go, it's usually not for a good thing, right? If we're called out. But then they go back to those homes and they request to go back to those homes, and then they just want help. So they bring food, or they bring presents, or they bring a tree. And I thought, how special. So maybe we need to share more of those stories. But I don't think they'll let me, but I got it in.
There you go. And, she really is. She's a classy lady and does a lot of work with that. I absolutely love that nonprofit as well. My two favorites, LOPA and Christmas Crusade.
I love it. I do that too. And then, I volunteer with my children, but that's their fun time. Like we go out there for a couple hours and we collect toys. They like going shop for toys more to donate to the Christmas Crusade, but it's always fun. We sing Christmas carols, and it's our way of helping and giving back to our community. And then Erica takes care of the rest. Like, how easy is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you do a donation, and then it's going to a good cause. It's staying in our community, and that it's going to reach the people that it's intended to reach. So pretty neat.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. And I'll tell you what, I was at the Livingston Parish Chamber Gala last weekend.
Oh, that looked so much fun.
Let me tell you, Sheriff Ard and his wife can cut a rug when the time calls for it. That dude can dance.
Does he know you caught him dancing?
I don't think he does, but
I did see the hat.
he had the hat on, and I was
incognito,
like,
maybe.
yeah, I got to learn that dance. My wife's like, you don't flip me around all like that. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to learn. I don't know what to say. But it
I like that they can
humanizes
go out.
who he is. These people are people, right? At the end of the day, he is the sheriff, and he's an awesome guy, but he's also a person.
Yeah.
And, just like I am, and, I dance too, just not as good as Jason does.
Yeah, me either. I'm going to go find that.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed spending a little time with them at that. And of course, he supports a lot of, it seems like he sponsors just about everything. So he supports everything in this
I like when they can go out together, and I like that you're telling me they were having a good time. Because, a lot of things, they sit and they listen, they sit through these meetings, but that they cut a rug, that's exciting.
Go ahead. So it's apparent you work very hard, right? And some people may ask, why invest so much of your time? You're a mother, you're a wife, you have really two awesome full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And I asked you that in your questionnaire, and I want to read that verbatim because that was really good. I think everybody needs to hear this. You said, I asked you why, and you said, I love my children. I want them to be proud of their mother. I want them to achieve things I never thought possible. I want them to be good humans who are leaders in the communities. I pray every morning they make good choices, and in order to do that, I need to be a good role model. My children already know that having a heart on your license is the sincerest form of kindness. They know Sheriff Ord and his deputies are good and will help them and have helped them. They know in times of struggle to search for the helpers, strive to be a helper, strive to be a good human, period. Mm-hmm. I can't say it any better than that.
Yeah, they're watching.
Yes.
But we just prayed for our community helpers today because of the tornadoes and folks that are going out to help. And so we try to let them know what's going on in the world and how blessed we are to live in the community that we're in. And so they see us react to certain things. So life's not always going to be fair.
Yeah,
and
no, it's not.
Not everything's going to go your way, and how we react is how they're going to react. And so not perfect. And I'm still working on it. But I know that I have eyes on these future leaders here in Livingston. And so I just want them to see that I land on my feet and that I try.
Yes. Yes. Huge.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Nick Touye Service Above Self Award. This is a new award that is in conjunction with, it's not Rotary Club.
It's the Denham Springs Kiwanis Club. Yes, I'm a part of the Kiwanis Club. Yeah. Great service organization. They're always doing great things. They work with the Crusade to help, because the Crusade is from 0 to 12, and then they kind of pick up some of those teenagers.
Yes.
And they help them have a Merry Christmas. So just wonderful folks. And every year in May, they have a law enforcement luncheon. And so they work with the Sheriff's Office, Denham Springs Police Department, Denham Springs Marshal's Office, and State Police, and those that work in Livingston. And they wanted to push it a little bit further. They wanted to honor Nick in some way, shape, or form. And how do you do that? Because Nick lived in our community.
Yes.
He's our friend.
Yes.
His family, they're our friends. And so we said, what about an award? The Touye family agreed, and this year they will be giving the first Nick Touye Service Above Self Award on May 12th for that annual Peace Officer of the Year luncheon. So it's someone who goes above and beyond, someone tied to law enforcement in some way, shape, or form, and it's open to any person who works with law enforcement across the parish. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And Mr. Mike Juneau, he kind of leads the way on that. I'm a secretary with that and love to help him with that. But I just thought how neat that this family is still surviving.
Yes.
And Nick is still a miracle, and that they're still willing to work with us to, honor Nick in our community in some way, shape, or form, and then find out who else is going above and beyond. And we'd love to hear those stories. So there's still time to nominate. You can do that throughout the month of April, and go to the Denham Springs Kiwanis Facebook page. It's where they have all the information.
Yes, and I will link that Facebook page to the description of this podcast, and you can
Thanks
just
for
go
fitting
down
that
there
in.
and-
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
and you're just full of beautiful things, Miss Lori. I can't cover them all.
I just know some great people who are doing great things.
100%. Greenleaf Charcuterie Boards offer stunning charcuterie arrangements perfect for your special event and provides delivery for a hassle-free order experience. Their unique, wide variety of charcuterie boards are like no other. From your traditional charcuterie board to the Chantilly dessert board to the Cajun board, they've got something for everybody. And ladies, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, so if you're looking for gift ideas, they've got an amazing prime filet steak board. And fellas, don't forget about their Valentine's board for your sweetheart. For more information or to visit them on the web, go to greenleafcharcuterieboards.com. Greenleaf Charcuterie Boards is a proud local sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. So in March, we honor women who have made a difference in our community because it's Woman in History Month. Here at Local Leaders, the podcast, we choose to honor 5 ladies in March as local leaders leading ladies. So Miss Lori Steele, on behalf of all of us at Local Leaders, the podcast, we'd like to present you with this plaque in honor of your contributions that you make in our community every day. Thank you. You are the absolute definition of a leader. Oh,
well, you really had me sit back and just think about all the people in our lives and in our community who go above and beyond. So I'm going to accept this on behalf of all of them who help me and push me and work with me. And so it's an honor. Thank you very much. How neat.
Our honor to have
hardware.
you on. Yeah,
so
look,
neat.
I'm fancy now.
No doubt. Well, I knew that when I saw the water.
That's right.
Shameless
plug.
Pretty
Shameless
neat.
plug. Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for including me. I know that there were a lot of ladies, like I was reading and becoming inspired in so many different walks of life and
everyone deserves
different occupations and just amazing people. So
yeah,
I love it.
Well, thank you for what you do for the community. And one last thing I do want to bring up is mentorship. And I find this to be very important, especially for our younger folks. When you often in law enforcement can probably speak to this directly, but often when kids become adults and they have problems, it's because of lack of mentors somewhere along the line. It's a very important thing, but you mentor females in particular that if they're seeking your help, you listed a couple of examples in your questionnaire where one of them was debating going into a field that you had been in and you told them the pros and the cons and all those sorts of things. And another one maybe wanted your mentorship in the media world and kind of to know about that. So how important do you think mentors are too?
They're the bee's knees.
Yeah.
They're it. And just from the newsroom perspective, so I was the younger one coming in, and then you had older ones, which is where I am now. But just how to turn a phrase or how to ask a question or how to work a source. I would have never figured that out on my own, I don't think, or it would have taken me longer to figure it out had someone not been kind enough and let their guard down enough and put their ego aside to help, right?
Yes.
And so they would always come back and check on me, and I knew I could go to them like, I know this is a stupid question, right? But they said, there's no stupid questions. We're here together. And so from a very young age, it was these women who would lead me in the right, how to dress, what makeup to wear. Like, you don't think to ask those types of things.
That's right.
And then you went to HD TV, and then, how do you dress for that? And what do you do on someone who has no money, right?
Yeah.
Just starting out. And then, growing up, it was just all these people who helped. Like I would never be where I am without people lending a helping hand in some way, shape, or form. So now I am where I am. So I try to help and pull you forward. And I hope that when my children are of age, that happens as well. So I always give time. I'll go to lunch with you. We'll talk. We'll do a Zoom call. But if there's something that I can help, or I know someone who can, like if somebody asks me about a podcast, maybe I'll send them your way.
Yes.
But connecting all of these folks in our very own community who are doing these same things, who just want to help each other out, because together we are better, together we are stronger. And so let's work towards that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So you're 100% correct. And let's all do that, whether you're female, male.
What a great
mentor
place.
somebody.
We're solving the world's problems,
We
Jim.
are right here in this booth. I knew it could be done. Yes. Thank you so much for coming on. I
No,
appreciate
thank you.
it.
I don't know how my name got in the list, but man, I'm so glad. And then when I saw everyone that you were talking about, I was like, man, that's just pretty cool for Livingston Parish as a whole and for our state as a whole. Like, pretty neat.
Yes, and we've got some pretty awesome ladies here in this parish, some pretty awesome female leaders, and that's for sure. So I want to thank all the viewers and listening to Local Leaders, the podcast. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our posts from all your social media. The sponsors of the show, I couldn't do any of this without all of them, Miss Lori.
And another lady, Tiffany.
Yes, and Miss Tiffany.
Were you getting to that? I'm so sorry.
Yes, Miss Tiffany for sure. I could not do anything with it. Look, I can't even function without Tiffany. Let's be honest.
The woman behind the podcast.
That's right. That's right. So if you want to sponsor or be featured on the show, please reach out to me at jim@localleadersofpodcast.com and we'll get you information. Until next time, I'm Jim Chapman reminding you, love your community, support local business and nonprofits just like LOPA, and keep leading. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dane Arnold with iTrade Exchange has been enabling small business in the Livingston Parish area to save cash through his network of over 300 participating Livingston Parish businesses. Saving cash by trading services with other exchange members is what iTrade Exchange is all about. For more information, contact Dane Arnold at 225-205-3640 or visit iTradeExchange.biz.
Go Ford for your next truck or SUV and find an easier way to buy with Woodhouse Ford today and experience the convenience of buying with Woodhouse Ford. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on a 2023 Ford F-150 XLT plus 3.9% APR for 60 months with approved credit. $299 doc fee due at signing. Security deposit waived. Expires 1/02/2024.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.